So how you doing, class? My name is Noah Khan, and my presentation is over esports, the brains behind the game. Let's get right into it. So first, I'm gonna give you guys a general overview about what esports is and what it encompasses. First off, the E in esports stands for electronics. So it's electronic sports or video games. And essentially, it's the same thing as regular sports, except it's just all video games. So the experience people get from like at a football game or a basketball game where they're watching them is the same thing they do at an esports events, except for just watching people play video games. And if you look closely to my presentation, I got a couple numbers right here. 1 billion and 30 million. 1 billion is a total revenue that the esport community got last year in total. And the 30 million is one of the highest revenue teams that we'll talk about later on, but that was one of their top grossing revenues. And in the top right, I have some abbreviations for some of the top esport games. So we have LOL, which stands for League of Legends, CSGO, which is Counter-Strike, Dota 2, Call of Duty, and Overwatch. These aren't all the esport games that they have, but these are the ones that bring the major money moves. So how do esport teams make money? I divided up into 3 categories that I saw was most consistent among all the research I did. So first, we have the esports themselves. So this is from like leagues that they're in, which is like Call of Duty will have its own league in which the teams will participate, kind of like the playoffs type of deal. There's tournaments that they hold, and there's like partnerships that the team does as a whole. Next is entertainment, which is probably the biggest one. Most esport teams require or make it mandatory that their players stream. So when they're streaming, they can broadcast that totally live to anyone, anywhere. And that's where they make most of their money off of streaming, ads on there, people tipping, stuff like that. And in apparel, this is one that people are probably familiar with. It's just merchandise, stuff like that, clothes, hats, shoes, anything that people will buy and help support that organization. That makes the esport team money. So next, I'll make sure I didn't. Sorry. So y'all probably had in mind what are some esport teams right here. This is TSM, probably one of the highest grossing teams in the esport community. Last year alone, their total revenue was 410 million. I know that's a large number. 410 million. The second team up was Cloud9 with 390 million, Team Liquid with 310, and FaZe Clan with 310 as well. And to put that in perspective, the Houston Rockets last year made 350. So these esport teams are bringing in a lot of money from across the world. Like I said, they stream events, so they're getting money from China, Canada, Australia, America. They're bringing in money from everywhere. So this brand, esports, there's a lot of money going around there. So if you're interested in esports, how do you join a team? Well, similar to any other regular sport, they will probably come find you, okay? If you're good enough, they will come find you and recruit them to come play for them. So just stream often and record lots of clips of you playing. For example, I'm a basketball player. I have my own highlight tape to get into college. Same thing for esports. They make highlight tapes of themselves and post it on Twitter and Discord links, stuff like that, to just build their name and brand. And through that, these teams usually recruit. One thing that was highly recommended was participating in local tournaments. So if you want to play, find local tournaments. Like I said, Discord or Twitter, look around, see what's going on. Next. Oh, this was the slide I just talked about. I numbered it out for you guys in case you didn't want to hear me talk. You could just read it, but that's basically what I just covered. Recruiting is like any other sport, like I just said. Just focus on honing your skills, making sure you're the best version of yourself, and then just posting as much content as possible of yourself online. That will usually get you spotted if you're good enough. And then make sure you're frequently checking your emails, Discord, stuff like that. Degree requirements. Yes, unfortunately, there isn't a degree required, but most people in the esport community do have a bachelor's. They say they focus more about experience, so coaching jobs and stuff like that. They're really looking at your experience in the gaming. But yeah, most esport people, players, managers, coaches all have at least a bachelor's degree. So this can be a business, marketing, stuff like that, business and marketing. Next. So here are some salary ranges. I looked it up for you guys to give you the little averages. So most esport players make between $12,000 and $60,000, which is not a lot at all, but we'll talk about that later. Coaches make around $80,000, and the manager of the entire team makes around $100,000. But right here we have a man named Sohan Judenstein, and in the last 30 days he made $7 million alone. How did he do that? Well, he won lots of tournaments, and that accumulated to $7 million. These numbers right here are just what they make from the team, the organization. They don't include outside tournaments, which is what these esport players make most of their money from. So the top 100 esport earners are all over $1 million, with Sohan leading them with just $7 million in the last 30 days, which is really, really crazy to think about. There's another number right here, $130K. The top 2% of coaches make over $130K. So we see that most of the money goes towards the players, it makes sense because the players are the ones spending most of the time grinding, most of the time, streaming out to people, stuff like that. So if you are really good and brand yourself well, you could be amongst the people who make, like Sohan, $7 million. So what does the future of esports look like right now? They're looking towards virtual reality, which I'm sure most of you heard about, the Oculus Rift, stuff like that. And that is really enticing and interesting because it might combine esports with actual sports, Put the Oculus Rift on, now you're actually there. They're coming up with new technology to where you can actually have a motion-censored vest on. You can combine exercise with sports. So that's really interesting. There's recent rumors that the Olympics might have some type of esport variety to it. That would be really, really crazy to see that in the Olympics. And then the revenue. Esports is gradually going up every year. Their money is going through the roof. Next year, I think they're projected to make, $2.2 billion after making $1 billion this year. So they're really skyrocketing in terms of money and revenue. So the future is bright, basically, is what I'm saying for esports. And then now, like I said, esports is the future. People should learn more about this because I think that this is going to be a real part of society. The fact that it can reach everyone around the world is really exciting to me and interesting. And unlike sports like football or American football, I think everyone can find interest in games. Not everyone, it's obviously generalization, but most people have played video games and can play video games. So the fact that it can stream everywhere, from Brazil to China to England, really makes this not superior, but more accessible than other sports such as American football or the NBA. So with that, I would like to thank you for listening to my presentation. Hopefully you had a good time. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Thank you. Appreciate you. Amen.